Hey everyone, and we are back after 2.5 months. I do hope you missed me. I hope you missed my partner Noam. 2.5 Salesman is back with a banger. Hey Noam, did you
Hello.
uh did you miss me?
Yes, to be honest, I did. I did. I absolutely did.
Well, there we go. I miss you too, buddy. I always love these conversations. They always kind
True.
of
Yeah.
bring out the best in both of us, bring out the best in our guests. So they're always kind of a lot of fun to do. Yeah. So 2.5 Salesman, as I said, is back. Our guest today, Peter Heurling. Again, hope I'm pronouncing this right. My Swedish is not my best. Peter, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome, Peter.
Uh, Thank you. Very good to be here. And I actually didn't know I was the first guest after 2.5 months. So this is, of course, yeah, really kind of,
You
what do you
are
say?
our
Yeah.
first guest after 2.5 months.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Super.
After the
Yeah.
hiatus, yeah. So, so Peter, and you guys can check Peter's LinkedIn. I will drop it in the description of this podcast episode. Peter is a fractional sales leader. Seems that we have more and more fractional sales leaders as time goes by, and this is not without both reason and merit, as far as I'm concerned, right?
Yeah.
So I think we want to have this conversation with Peter where we talk about fractional leadership, the pros and cons, and where do all three of us generally see the fractional position going on. So, Peter, fractional sales leadership. Before we dive into, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, your upbringing. How did you end up here? In a couple of
Yeah,
sentences, and then we can dig into this fun topic.
no problem. First of all, yes, you pronounced the name correctly, which not a lot of Swedes actually do because they think I'm always from Netherlands or Germany or something.
Ah.
So,
Oh,
so
God forbid.
thumbs up. Very good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I think the very short version of my background, there is a long version and a short version, but I was a professional football player, studying at university for 15 years, quitting playing football, and I had no idea what to do. And I found this recruitment ad that said, we are looking for people with academic or athletic achievements. And I was like, that is me.
Yeah.
And then I had no clue about the rest. I just know that I had to send it in the next day, so and it had to be in English. I wrote it in Swedish, sent it to my friend in San Francisco, asked her translate it. It needs to be good. She sent it back. I sent it in, and then actually on I think it was the evening of Easter, yeah, one of the Easter days, right? They called and like, hey, can we have a talk from this company? And it was just a week after, and I was like, kind of drunk. Like, yeah, no problem. So luckily, that ended well. So 2 weeks after that, I started at a company called Meltwater, which was a Norwegian unicorn, fairly small at that time. I don't really remember how many we were, but let's say hundreds or something, 80, 100. And I was, of course, not expecting to stay there forever, but I stayed 14 and a half years.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
wow. Nice.
and usually I say that I did everything within kind of revenue driving sales ish positions. So when people talk about the bow tie by winning by design, I feel that I've lived with a bow tie all my
Yeah.
life, but now someone put a
Yeah.
name on it, basically. So, and of course, looking back, probably I should have quit 2, 3, 4 times. But on the other hand, the journey from, let's say, I don't know, 100 people to 3,000, getting listed, getting delisted, uh, being bootstrapped the first half. Yeah, you know. So there are so many things now in my, of course, fractional leadership that I take with me from that journey. And I usually say that the biggest kind of pro and the biggest con with me is that I was so long at Meltwater, but I only was at Meltwater. So I just saw one good world, basically.
Yeah.
And that, of course, had to challenge myself after I quit at Meltwater to see, okay, maybe there are other ways of doing this also. So, but then came the pandemic. I got, as probably everybody else, some kind of personality crisis, starting to think, is this is this what life is about? And I decided to leave Meltwater, and then I went to a climate tech startup here in Sweden, in Gothenburg. So basically, I live in Gothenburg, by the way, and spent 18 months as kind of head of sales, basically driving sales. And I think that was the time when I decided that, okay, if this is how it is in many places, maybe there are other companies that need support. And now I didn't sound very positive, but in my opinion, and to Carbon, fantastic company and people, but coming from a software SaaS background where culture and people and drive and everything was like empowered, this was a very, very different experience. And I usually say nowadays that, okay, if I wouldn't have done those 18 months, I never could have started my fractional business, because the missing link was, of course, sub the 50, 70 people a little bit earlier on the journey.
Yeah.
But sorry.
That is one of my questions a little bit later on, right?
Yeah. But what I kind of, the last point on that. So what it came out with was that 1 + 1 became 3. So, okay, this is the startup world. I've been on the rest journey. I know what good looks like. And that is basically my mantra. I think I've been in this business for, 18, 19 years now in SaaS. And I think I have a pretty good eye on what good and bad looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. So basically that's it. And then I started my fractional business almost a year ago then. So we can come back to that.
Yeah.
2 kids, 1 wife, and not 2 wives, 1 kid. Born in the north.
I think it's a better choice. Yes.
No,
Less
I grew up with a brother, right? So 4 years younger, and I always say this. We were 2 boys, right? Very alive. And my mom always used to say, 1 kid is just not enough, but 2 are too much.
There is a pretty good what it's like that 1 kid is a life changer, but 2 kids is a life complicator.
Yeah,
and it's very, very true.
No, you have how many? 6, 7, 5? Yeah. But most of you are grown up, so you're okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because when you get to the 3rd and 4th, they're gonna support you with the new ones, right? Because they are
one can only hope.
No, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Been there, done that.
Way.
Doesn't work, man. Doesn't work. Yeah.
All right, let's dive straight into the topic. So I would say that Norm and I have been, I've been 25 years in this business. Norm probably even more. When we were running sales teams and we were running revenues, there was no such thing as fraction, right?
Yeah.
This trend of fractional, I would say, and I'd like you guys maybe just to have a small debate, kind of rose with the explosion of different AI tools, specifically with large language models, and then different predictive AI tools that sales leaders can actually use, right? So I would say this fractional role, we have the birth of the fractional role is thanks in large to the rise of artificial intelligence in whatever shape or form. We can debate different shapes and forms. So what do you guys think?
Should I start?
Yeah, please go ahead. It's a big question.
Yeah, right. No, but actually I disagree. I think even without AI, there would have been fractionals, because the reason fractionals exist is that SaaS is kind of an early, like 20, it's 20 years old, right? And no
Yeah.
one has been senior until kind of recently. And sometimes then came up with, probably in the US and North America, because they have more fractionals, right? That, hey, I've kind of done this now for some time. So I think I can be a consultant or fractional leader in that sense. I think that is the main reason, actually. Then I just think that AI and tooling, that just kind of speeded it up somehow, because then fractionals, as consultants always do when there is a knowledge gap, they go in and say, hey, I can help you, I can help you. So that's kind of my view on it.
Well, Norm, I'll give you the floor in a minute. But what I would
Yeah.
argue is there is so much work I had to do manually as a sales leader that had nothing to do with sales, nothing to do with running my own pipeline, nothing with coaching my sales team and my directors and whoever was kind of reporting to me. So I would say the especially large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, and all of these, just freed up a whole lot of time for me as a as a sales leader, that I can actually focus on things that matter, and that is generating revenue, which kind of enables me to, hey, if I can hit my numbers in 4 hours a day, I can probably run 2 teams or 3. Noam, what do you think?
Well, so my outlook on AI,
Yeah.
for years, right? So I'm the old school, I'm the old guy, I'm the I'm the caveman, right? So here's the thing. It's not I think AI is a wonderful tool. I use it now day in and day out, right? So I think it's an accelerator system. Well, I don't think I'm a good user with it, right? So I think there's people that use this better than me. So maybe you could say I'm a light user in that. But in terms of, if I tie it to fractional, I think that, well, we're talking about sales, and today we're talking about, fractional sales and leadership. And to be honest, I think AI is just an accelerator. So this enables people, maybe, maybe even, take it the opposite or take it the other way around. I think that people that might be good, let's say sales leader, wanted to become fractional, which is it's a huge challenge, right? This is my this is what I'm interested in learning today, right? From Peter today. I think that not all of the sales leaders we know and worked, shoulder to shoulder with Mario could become fractional, because this is different, right? So maybe AI kind of enables the good ones to become even better and speed things up. So I don't think that AI is, I don't know, a bridge or something. I simply think it's an accelerator system, but something within a person that becomes a fractional leader, uh, it's a different competency, probably a different state of mind. And I do want to pick, Peter's brain on it, because there's a lot of people, at least around me, stating that they want to become fractional. And I just had a conversation with sales leader, one of my clients. Mario, you know this client. It's one of the biggest telecommunication company here.
Yep.
So this guy works for, it's a company within the company. So it's not a daughter company, but kind of a unique, let's say, positioning company within that big organization. And he did a good job, picking up sales. And then he decided to become fractional. And he called me up and said, what do you think? And honest to God, I said to him, listen, I am not sure. A, I'm not sure I'm the person that you need to consult with, right? But B is, I'm not sure you're ready, man. I'm not sure you're ready for this. This is a different ball game. It's a different ball game. It's not, yeah, I can understand, let's say, the benefits of working with several clients, invoicing much more than your time on it, right? And then multiplying it. So basically, yeah, you got to earn more money. I stated that to him, and this is great. However, can you actually do that? Not in terms of operations, in terms of state of mind. And I think that this is where I'd like to tap in. So yeah, I'm keen of understanding how you use AI to accelerate that. But before that, there's a system in place that needs to be, designed on how to do that. And I think man is the machine in this place, in this you know, in this role. So this is my taking on this, Mario.
Peter, any rebuttals, any comments?
I mean, I think maybe we are going pretty fast here, because quite a lot of your listeners might not even know what fractional really means, right?
True. Yeah, true. You should,
I think, yes.
you should stop us and you know, educate a bit the listeners. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, but I just think that the idea of fractional, you have like interim, you have consultants, you have many phrasings for people that invoice, right? I think the main kind of deal with fractional is that you do maybe 1 to 3 days per week over a certain time with a company. And then you might do 1 to, hopefully not 3 days again with a second company, and you do it the same thing, right, over a longer time. And that is kind of, I think, the fractional piece. And what you're talking about, right? Yes. The main reason for me becoming fractional was certainly not to earn more money. It was the total opposite. It was that I wanted to decide on who I wanted to work with. I want to spend energy on people I like, and I want to work as much as I want. That was my main drivers. But there are, of course, others that has money. And of course, I mean, currently I'm just in one project, so it means now I have space to take in other things, but it easily also gets swamped up.
Yeah, but in a matter of days, right? So in a matter of 2 days, you could be completely packed.
Indeed. So I think maybe just to set the foundation, that is kind of what fractional means, and also fractional is, as far as I know it, is a very kind of saucy, techy term. I don't think anyone uses it outside of SaaS. There is kind of consultants or project leaders. I don't know. That's
yeah, possibly.
So,
I don't know. Possibly, yes.
Yeah, I think so. Then I think just another thing worth mentioning with fractional. So, kind of what is the reason why? So, how do I pitch myself? I think that is kind of an essential thing. And I had an old colleague, Birte Sten, and she's done this for a couple of years now, and she was the one pushing me over the edge to actually go out of my comfort zone and start my own company and invoicing. Because 1.5 years ago, if you would have asked me, hey, do you think you're going to start your own company and like be fractional? I would, no, Mario, now you've been in Berlin forever for too long, right? Or something.
Yeah.
But as the essential thing is, of course, and I think why companies actually want a fractional person, especially if you are maybe pre-seed, seed, maybe Series A, is that if you're going to get someone like me or others with like 20 years experience, you need to, first of all, pay them quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then you also get kind of, you need to have them on a kind of 5 days per week. And after, at least in the Nordics, you know what happens after 6 months. It's super hard to get rid of people. Anyone can get rid of.
Same in Germany.
Anyone can get rid of, not on the day, but I think 1 or 2 weeks at least, right? So, and I can also get rid of my customers, which also is an important thing. So that is kind of, I think, the trigger, right? That what I can do, hopefully then in 2 days, is more worth for that customer of mine than someone you would hire that might be junior can do in 5 days per week, for example. And I maybe can even do it better. That's why you should invest in a fractional resource. And
I
then
would
also,
even. Oh, sorry. No, Peter, go ahead, please.
Just then on top of that, I also want to say that there are different kind of fractional roles also. I've actually done 3 of them already. So fractional kind of go-to-market sales leader is one of them. Fractional kind of salesperson or fractional AE, fractional market entry representative, is also another kind of path. And fractional kind of sales coach slash assistant to CEO or sales director looking into sales process, which I'm currently doing. That is a third fractional role. So it's not just one way fractional can go, right?
Yeah.
I was about to say that I think that another benefit now that I come to think about it is best practices. So imagine that a person such as yourself. First of all, obviously you have a lot of strong background with scaling fast, right?
Mm,
So I would say even painful scaling. So this is a competency that not many salespeople own, right? So if you go to the majority of the
Sales leaders,
salespeople,
yeah.
sales leaders, we people, we
Yeah.
expert, our expertise is, yeah, we need to increase the business, but we also kind of, let's say, do this rather incrementally than, than do this an accelerated way. So there's not a lot of people out there that can accelerate business from one to 100 million, right? It doesn't from 1,000 to 100 million. That doesn't
mm,
happen per day. This is an expertise. Now, when
mm,
it comes to do this fractionally, besides the fact that, this person will cost you a lot of money if you take full ownership on this guy or lady, I think that, this person owns best practices, right? It's
mm,
embedded within, as you can call it a consultant, you can call it a mentor, whatever you would like, but this person owns this, the set of experience and competencies, which is then translated to knowledge.
mm,
So when you buy fractional, you basically buy, I would say bits of pieces, but you buy this knowledge, but then it just,
But
being,
you
let's
buy that with full-time employee, full-time sales leader as well.
No, not necessarily. Depends
No?
on, no, I'm saying that depends on the business and what you want to have. So
Mm.
I'm saying that, I think that people that own the ability to scale, fast, really fast, those sets of people then are more interesting to take as a fractional rather
mm,
than, again, I'm talking about myself mainly. So, mainstream sales, leaders, which is, yeah, we are good to go. We have best practices. We got 30 years of experience. There's nothing that is out there that we haven't seen. We saw the rise of SaaS and everything. So it's out there, right? But the ability to scale a business this rapidly, this fast, it is very unusual. So I
mm,
think that there is a reason for fractional to shine these days, this era.
mm.
And part of it, I think it's the knowledge, Mario, specific knowledge in this environment. Think of it, for example, this is kind of I wouldn't call it a niche, but it's not a niche, right? But
But
it's a
then
thing.
what is the difference then between a sales leader who can scale and a fractional sales leader that can scale? Apart from paying the fractional one a little bit less money.
Well, I'll go with Peter's statement. Peter wants to work with Peter, where people. So yeah, that makes sense to me, right?
I think
Basically,
also,
what's
yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah. Sorry, no, Peter, go ahead.
No, I think also it depends a little bit on where you are on the journey, right? So if you take an example of one of my ICPs is basically, let's say you're a startup, you are getting your first investment round. You might have some product market fit and you're kind of ready to go. That's where I want to go in. And not necessarily because that's where I were when I were at Meltwater, but because through the following the rest of the journey, I have kind of a knowledge on what you actually need to have done right if you even gonna have one chance of succeeding. One of these things is, for example, people, right? Have you actually, or are you recruiting the right people? And that we can have a separate podcast on what is the right people, but I had a very clear opinion what I think is the right people, right? And I think everyone that was recruited into Meltwater would answer more or less the same. And
Yeah.
that kind of was very, very successful. But I also seen many companies that doesn't have that insights that do this mistake early
Yeah.
on their journey. And then
Uh,
they need to spend 2 years at some point getting rid of people, trying to get the new ones. And yeah, you don't have those 2 years.
Well, look, Norm and I talk about this all the time, especially when we go into companies and we coach and consult both with sales leaders and the operational guys, right? Um, you have founder-led sales, and at one point, the founder says, "Holy f, I can't do this anymore. Like I need to hire a sales leader," and then a sales leader comes in, regardless if he is full-time or fractional. I would argue if the sales leader can take it, from 1 to 10 million, and he's either done it before or the CEO has trust that this person will do it, in that way, then he gets hired and he takes the company 1 to 10. And then the company needs to reinvent itself completely in order to go from 10 to 100. Because that's a completely different beast, different processes, different systems, different mindset, different personnel, different GTM, different product. Everything is different. So one thing that I would agree with you is I think you call it the sweet spot. So getting in that, like, first, I don't know, 500,000 to 1 million in ARR up to, let's say, I think you said like 5 million sweet spot. That's I think
Yeah, I think,
okay-ish, right? So I think this is a good spot for fractions. Now, full disclosure, I do know one fractional guy who comes in after the company hits 100 million.
Yeah.
Right.
But those exist also. I mean, Bitte that I talked about before, she is more in that space, right?
Yeah.
But then she's working more, not so operationally. She's working more kind of based on bow tie and metrics and kind of solving all the conversions and data things that you also need to be on top of.
Rev ops and revenue system. That's
exactly.
what you get at 100 million mark, right?
Exactly.
My point is, and then again, we can have a debate about it. If a sales leader is kind of contemplating to go fractional, I think my advice would be look for companies that are within this 1 to 5 million range. Raise their first Series A, and they want to kind of scale up to 10. I think that's a really good place for someone to begin their fractional career.
But Mario, sorry, I was patiently waiting. Right, I got two insights here. First of all, do you remember the old TV series called Renegade?
No.
Okay, this guy.
I am a modern.
Yeah, I know you're young. You're young. Remind me to smack you when I meet you next time. But you're probably gonna hit me back and kill me, so I'm not gonna do that.
I can't. You're special forces. What the hell, man? I'm a big fat white dude. I can't do shit. I can hit a golf ball, and that's about most of my physical prowess these days. So
anyway, that's an old TV series. I think it was from up until 1997. This guy was riding his motorcycle, American guy, traveling the different countries, Midland in the United States, from one town to another forgotten town. There was always a nice lady there, but there's always a bad guy in this town. And this guy will literally, solve the problems of that town. And then he will simply move from one town to another. This is what he did. He had his Kimosabi and another, sales operation lady that helped him. We kind of need to make things a little bit, you could say, funny.
Oh,
but,
I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, so, this is some 80s hair, man.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't really fit me, right? To be renegade.
Yeah, but okay. you can still ride a motorcycle. But here's the thing, right?
Wow.
I think that the fractional leader is also sold into the idea of helping or focusing my assistant and help when I know exactly what to do. So it's not only about, what's the sweet spot or the the ideal customer profile that I want to work with. It's also my, let's say, ideal competency. So if I know how to take a company from point A to point B, and there's also kind of other sets of parameters, we can discuss this if we have the time. But basically, I think that it's a state of mind thing. So if you see this as a fit, and there's a lot of companies out there, most of them need help. Come on, we're making a living out of this. So most of them need help, but we can't help everybody because sometimes it's simply out of our scope. So I think that this is where Peters, right? Not Peter, but Peters come in, right? With their motorcycle, their
full set of hair.
Yeah. You can look it up in Google later.
I think no, I think it's pretty spot on. Just maybe one difference where if I go in at that stage, my one of my main tasks is, of course, to find another renegade that can stay and
Yes.
kind of
A
still
successor, you have to.
protect that village, right? And do so. The question is not about me kind of going in and, well, some actually stay because they like the company, right? But if I can build up, let's say, the playbook, the basics, we got kind of the ICP narrowed down, we are looking into recruiting the right people. Of course, when I leave after, let's say, 6, 9, 12 months, the last thing I would do is to recruit the person that's actually going to be hired by that company.
Yeah.
And hopefully then you can actually take maybe from a lower shelf when it comes to cost, because a lot is already set. And maybe a new head of sales can come in and basically have a self-playing piano in the best of worlds. And that is kind of, I think that is, at least as I got pitched Fractional when Bitte tried to convince me, that was what she said to me. And now when I see it, I fully agree with it.
Yeah.
And I also, to be even more kind of, when I got recruited as head of sales to Carbon Cloud, looking back after 18 months, they would have recruited me, but as Fractional 18 months with the same experience, if you see what I mean. Because I was not the right person at that point. I didn't do my due diligence good enough, and that's fair enough. But the school was amazing, so I'm happy anyway. But it's a funny ride, so yeah. But I don't think I'm gonna step in there at that company as Fractional, at least not right now.
Yeah.
One of the things I think is interesting to explore a little bit, right, is geography. I mean, so first of all, we do live in a kind of very connected world, right? Very digital world. And I think you focus specifically on Nordic market and Nordic startups. So if you could maybe just touch why you think Nordic startups in this sweet spot are more open to fractional leadership
Yeah.
than
Good
I would
question.
say the rest of Europe, because I know for a fact in DACH region, specifically Germany, no fractional. You are full-time, you don't do anything else, you don't do anything on the side, you are here with us full-time. Like
9.
being fractional in Germany is non-existent because everyone just frowns upon it, right?
Mario, it's 9. We will ask the questions.
Yes, we will ask the questions.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, if you
casual
want
German there.
Yeah.
if you want my view on it, I mean, when the first thing I did when kind of started Fractional was that I paid €2,000 for Pavilion subscription, which you might know. Yeah, Pavilion has these Fractional channels and communities, and then I kind of started to understand, shit, this is really big thing in North America basically. And then when I kind of tried to look around in my Nordic community, is basically more or less my old colleagues or a very good friend, one of these colleagues that are fractionals in the Nordics right now. So we're not a lot. It's not a lot of them, and I'm not sure that Nordic startups / scale ups is more ready than anyone else. I don't think so. I think we are very, very new for the Nordic kind of tech SaaS AI community also, which is a little bit of a challenge for myself, of course, because another challenge with being fractional is that you need to execute on the projects, but at the same time you need to sell yourself for the future. So in that case, you can be in podcasts or on LinkedIn or you name it, or just traditional outreach. But I think Europe in general, I think the Netherlands, I think UK, the Netherlands, and the Nordics is kind of where it's popping up pretty rapidly. And I think that also has to go with like kind of what did I learn at Meltwater, which was Norwegian. First you go to Sweden and Denmark, then after that you go to the UK and Germany, and then you go to Netherlands because it's kind of English, they're good in English and such things. Then you go to the US. So I think it's kind of, those markets make sense that it's kind of a little bit early birds. But of course, the Germans is not always continuing being early birds, even if they sometimes should be it, but that's another podcast also. So let's skip that discussion.
Discussing German business practices in tech, in other industries. My favorite country to do business by far. But when it comes to tech and engineering, oh my God, so many, so conservative. But again, as you said, it's a completely different podcast.
Yeah.
No, so what are you seeing from, you know, coming from, I would say, the tech capital, tech center of Europe, for sure, in Israel, in Tel Aviv, especially, you know, cybersecurity, banking and stuff like that. How do startups and this is a little bit off topic, right? But how do startups go from?
Well, you know, let's say first of all, for the sake of, you know, fractional and non-fractional, it's not common here. It's not common. So we would see the more traditional model of, you know, full time, but I think there's a big miss here, right? So, you know, getting to see the local climate. So yeah, the startup environment here is booming as always, and there's a lot of investment capital coming in, you know, foreign investment coming in the shape of, you know, taking, you know, equity. But at the same time, I don't see sales leaders have, as you know, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I don't see them own the necessary knowledge and expertise to scale fast as much as the investors are looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that here's the problem. So on one side, the owners, you know, the entrepreneurs, they're not open to have it fractional from whatever culture, you know, let's say limitation or, you know, that we own here. But at the same time, I think this is what they need. And the reason is, and by the way, it could be that, you know, I remember that several times, you know, Mario, you know, that we've engaged local startups and we offered some kind of fractional work. It always, at the end, it always kind of, you know, was turned down for the sake of full time. But then you don't own the competency, or you don't acquire as an owner, you don't acquire the competency as the entrepreneur, you don't acquire the necessary, let's say, competency to do that by hiring full time.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and I have no idea why, you know, you know, the Nordics have it more at the moment. Maybe it's because the environment is booming in the business, you know, from business perspective. Could be, I don't know. I haven't analyzed this, but here, I think that if they don't use this kind of model, they will miss out. And I think that, you know, part of the investors community are not so highly educated as what to ask and what to do, and to even to set, you know, to set the, let's say, the foundation of what is it that they're expecting to have. Even they go for that. This is my point of view. And you know, we know my investment history. So
Yes.
you know, so given in this environment, the tech environment, I think that let's say the investors are not grown up yet, right? Not in terms of age, in terms of their mind of what kind of models they will be open to. Hopefully it will change, because I think this will already, you know, speed up the already, you know, very fast track here.
Yeah. Well, let me throw this, and I am cognizant of time.
Yeah.
One last topic. I know it's a big one, and I know it's one that no one will appreciate. I would say a little bit more than the two of us. It's, and this is what Norm and I see, you know, working with a lot of companies, that there is an influx, not sales leaders, but the salespeople, like the pool of people from which sales leadership is kind of grown. And this pool of people is getting thinner and thinner, smaller and smaller. Like, I know what I had to do in order to even become a manager, and then a director, and then a VP sales. I know what Noam had to go through in order to run his first team. Right? I think the fractional role, again, if we old people master new tech, this is perfect. A perfect opportunity for veterans, for people that have, you know, 15, 20 plus years of experience, simply because we know how to do it. Like if you give me any B2B startup selling in enterprise and I come in as fractional, I know what my next 3 years look like. Like I know I know year 1, year 2, year 3 what I need to do in order to get them to 10 and get them primed to go to 100. And this is what most senior leaders know how to do. And I could do it probably with few hours a day. That's it. So I could take on 2 or 3 projects, most likely, right? Then I'm not saying this to boast or to I'm just saying that it is what it is, right? With all of
Mario,
the technology and everything that I can leverage for my personal effectiveness.
but here's the thing. You were right with saying that the group of people that can do that had to, if I'm taking Peter's example, Peter had to, be in
Grind
the,
it away.
yes, had to grind every day and be in
Yeah.
the, and be in the trenches with his teams and grow he said it, Peter, you said it. He had to work every single type of role within the company to be able to do that.
Yep.
A lot of people today simply skip those steps, have
Skip a
no
lot
idea.
of steps.
So they don't have no ability
They
to do
want to
that.
do SDR's job for 2 years. They don't want to pick up the damn phone. Then they expect to be
Raise.
promoted to account
Yeah.
executives, right? With no real knowledge on how to self-generate pipeline. And then you work, you may get lucky working in a company that has some success. You put on your LinkedIn X whatever company, and then an unsuspecting startup hires you, and there's your first. You put in VP sales title, but you are no manager, not just VP sales.
My opinion. He can go wash my car, right? Okay.
Know.
I think again, I go back. Sorry.
Tom and I get a coaching engagement whenever we get in a company. So we kind of run our assessment. But before we do that, we see like what is the seniority of people. Like, and you have you have juniors, you have senior people. Like, and Noam just goes, Mario, can you please take these junior people? I don't want to see them. I don't want to. Just take the juniors. I will take the senior guys. Like, all right.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think that the group of people that able to do that is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And then
How many teams could you now run if you decided push comes to shove? You have a team that got to 1 million. It has an enterprise grade software. How many of those could you run effectively?
At the same time?
No, effectively
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I am basically right now because in the project I am, as I've said, I'm kind of 2 things I'm doing. I'm sales coaching and also kind of looking into the existing sales process, right? And what I did in a couple of days would have taken 4 or 5 months 2 years ago.
Yep.
4 or 5 months. And that's just because of that you can just pump in so much information, interviews, meetings, calls, internal documentation. Then you start prompting things, and then you get out really cool stuff, right? Insights, analysis, coaching plans that no human has ever been able to be close to do, right? And then, of course, the experience comes on top, because I don't just take it and look, oh, this is finished, right? Then you start to question my friend, as I call ChatGPT in this case, right? I start questioning,
Yeah.
but what do you mean that's not true? I trained you on this one. I think you should do this. And of course, when you've done 2, 3, 4, 5 prompts, actually the result is stunning, I must say.
Yeah.
And now it's still early, so I haven't seen the conclusions, right? But of course, this is something I'm using now, both when I speak with the CEO and with the director of sales, to move into execution faster. And imagine then, going back to your question, yes, if you gave me then 10 days in the beginning, I do something similar, right? Then I most likely could run quite a few sales teams just based on AI bot being the sales director on a daily basis, right? and I would just sit there and maybe take insights, have one-on-ones each week, bi-weekly, talking about, hey, now we need to work on this, now we need to do that, now we need to do that. And isn't that actually what the role head of sales, VP sales is? It's about coaching people to get better. But most people that sits in these roles, they're doing everything else than coaching.
Correct.
Yeah.
So true. So true. So true.
Okay, so
and their AI will play a massive role.
Yeah.
Bring sales leaders back to coaching,
Which is the most important job. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of we touched on on a few different topics. We opened some doors. Some doors we could talk for hours. I would say this is this always happens with me and Noam. We open so many doors. It's like holy f. This could be like 7 podcasts. 7 podcasts.
How was it again, Mario? Will SDRs exist in the future or not?
Oh, don't open that one.
Don't open that door.
Don't open that one, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That is a big...
Norm and I are very opinionated on that. Yeah. This could turn into like a half an hour rant.
But we should have Peter again with this topic, because this is a booming topic, man.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, guys, I am cognizant of time. Final thoughts? Fractional leaders in 2025 in 2 or 3 sentences. Final thoughts, Peter?
Extremely necessary, kind of as consultants always have done. Fractional leaders goes in where there is a gap, either that is coaching, or if it is startups that need to scale, or if someone that just needs to find a better way of using AI. I think you spotted it pretty well. We are experienced, but we also need to follow the trends and keep up with what the AI can do. Otherwise, we're gonna fall behind.
No, we're gonna fall short. Yeah.
No. Final thoughts?
I think that basically this is where the future of, I would say, work sales goes. And we, once you recognize that's the trend, you have to ride it. You simply have to join it. That's it. Or you're gonna fall behind. We know it. We experience it ourselves.
I would say this is the probably biggest opportunity for senior sales leaders.
True.
To grow, to upgrade, and to take reins. And not just from the money from the monetary standpoint, but also from being as effective.
Yeah, achievements.
Achievement. Yeah. So everyone, again, thanks for joining the 2.5 Salesman. Peter, thank you so much. This was
thank you.
I hope this was fun for you as it was for us.
It was.
So for everyone sticking so far, please make sure to like, to subscribe, and until next time, we close it as we close every podcast. Go out and sell something.
Yeah, pick up the damn phone.
Pick up the damn phone, people. Ciao,
or
ciao.
use AI.
Use AI. Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.